What's going on, y'all? Chilling. We're back on the Samurai, aka Slamurai, and wanted to give a progress update. Worked over the weekend, flew out to Michigan, worked some storm, drove into from West Virginia to Connecticut, worked there for a day or so. It was a dud, and we're back. Made some money, which is a good thing, to continue on our projects. So I'm going to spin the camera around, show you guys what project I made. Yesterday, I didn't want to make a video on the truck because I'd just be showing a bunch of stupid shit. Just to want to get some brainstorming going so I know what I'm dealing with. You know what I mean, Jelly Bean. So I'm going to spin the camera around, let y'all see what I see. All right, so front end's off. I got some steel yesterday. I went and picked up some tube, some pipe, and I'm gonna start fixing to get this chassis going. So in order to get this thing to the next step, what I've got to do is I've got to cut the floor out. Not only do I got to cut the floor out, I've got to cut the inner fenders out of the front end in order to see how much clearance we need. Now, I'm thinking, obviously you can see here, this is basically jacked up all the way. We need to push the control arms in. And the only way we're gonna do that is by cutting the center section of the frame out and making new engine mounts for the engine. So I need to go about 3 inches on each side. I think that should give me enough clearance. It has to. I mean, I can't really go any more than 6 inches. 3 and 3, which would equal 6. Gonna have a problem with the alternator. It's gonna hit once I sit the engine back in, I think. Yeah, so it's not the end of the world. We'll just have to make some new shit. But yeah, the frame has to get narrowed every bit of 6 inches in order for the wheel to clear the inner fender. So it makes it a little more challenging because I'm having a hard time trying to find a front wheel drive wheel to mount up to clear the hub. That was the thing I did yesterday. I spent half the day at a junkyard trying to find front wheel drive wheels. This is 5 on 4.5, which isn't a big deal. It's very common, but this hub right here, the diameter of this and the diameter of this sticking out doesn't work very well on front wheel drive wheels. So another thing is I got to order drop spindles to get the suspension lower. Now today what we're going to do is I'm going to I got to vacuum out the cab because I don't want stuff flying in my eyes when I'm cutting, and we're going to cut the floor out. The entire floor out, not the back half, just the front half. And I'll show you why in a little bit, what I need to do and why I need to do it. So the other thing is I have to cut the floor out because I need the chassis. I got to actually cut the back half of the chassis off, get the rear out. That's a whole nother fiasco that we're going to have to deal with. Yeah, so let me spin this around. Yeah, the rear is going to be a nightmare. This truck, you don't, again, I said it before, you don't realize how fucking small this thing is, but this truck is insanely small. I need a rear end that's about 48 inches, drum face to drum face. There's no car that makes a rear end 48 inches, and we're trying to do this on a budget. So I got to have a rear end made, and I'll show you guys in a second. Check this out. Obviously, this is a Toyota rear. you can clearly see it's never in a million years going to fit inside. So I believe it was a total of 54 inches from, I can't do this with one hand. Yeah, I can. I lied. about 54 inches, because I don't think the tire's going to go up that high. It can't. So we got about 54 inches. So by the time you factor in the thickness of your wheel, you're going to have, you're going to be about basically 52 inches. And then you need some scrub room inside here once you go around turns and stuff and the body rolls. So yeah, this is going to all come out. We're going to make new floor pans. I got a sheet of 16 gauge. I'm going to leave the tunnel, which is fine, but I'm going to measure completely around the perimeter, and we're going to cut all this out. The inner rocker is going to stay. We're going to weld the new floor to that, but the tunnel, the side of the tunnel, is going to obviously get moved up. So I'm going to vacuum all this out, clean this all out. I'll mark it up with a marker, with a Sharpie, and then you guys will see what I'm talking about in just a second. But anyway, I got to pull the rear end apart. This is a Toyota pickup, 84-ish. Got a hold of Moiser Engineering. They build axles and rears for race cars and what have you. And the guy said that he can respline the axle for me, providing once I slide the axle out of the rear end, there's enough meat on the axle to cut in new splines, which is great because then I can shorten the rear up on a budget. He said for him to spline the axles, you're looking at $150. It's not a big deal, plus shipping there and back. To build a new rear end, you're talking every bit of $3,500 to $4,000 plus, which I don't want to spend. That's stupid. You're talking the center section, then the housing, then the brakes, then the axles. It's too much money. It's way too much money. So we got to pull the rear end apart and see if we have enough thickness, enough meat where the spline goes into the center section. So that's a whole nother challenge. But I'm gonna get this thing vacuumed out, and I'll get some lines drawn in there, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. All right, so basically we got a line scribed in here in the floor. Basically what I did was I took a piece of 2x4, laid it on the floor, and slid my marker along the 2x4 to create me a level line around the cab. So now the new floor will fit up nice and flat underneath, and we'll put some reinforcements in it in the bottom to make it nice and strong. But that's basically what we've got. So we got a line all the way around. We're gonna lose all this foot room here. But it's actually really important to do this, otherwise the truck's not gonna lay. So you might say to yourself, why am I doing this? And then you go, oh, I know why I'm doing this. Because nobody's done this before. Or not many people have done this before. And it's all about being original. You know, you build a C10, or you build an Impala, or you build a Nova, or what have you. Everybody's got one. Yeah, I got one. Yeah, me too. Yeah, me too. Well, how many people have Samurai that are done? Not many. So the floor is basically, let me get some light in here. The floor is basically trash. Anyway, so you see you got a hole here. You got some holes here. Got a couple holes over there somewhere. You got some holes here, what have you. Yeah, so once I get that side cut out, I gotta get these braces out so I can mark this side up. So it'll take me a minute. I'll have to plasma cut those out and then re-vacuum. But you get the picture. So, ow. this is staying. That's what we're gonna weld the new floor to. That's your inner rocker, which goes all the way down, straight to the bottom of the frame. So, and we don't want to cut obviously that side there either, because the floor has to come up right up into it. So by doing this, this will give us our clearance. This will allow the frame to tuck higher. This will allow a lot of different things to make this project happen. Yeah, so that's basically it. I'm gonna get cutting, and then we'll be back. We'll set the camera up, time lapse. All right, so a nice clean cut. Almost knocked my drill over. Got a nice clean cut all the way around. Our floor is gonna sit flush with that, and it's gonna come right to the corner. I'll get a piece of plywood and you'll see what I'm talking about. Just a second. Obviously pretend that this here is, what am I hitting? The other side. Oh, dang it. Anyway, this is about what it's gonna look like. That's gonna be the new floor. It'll be all the way flush from there to there, just like that. Boom. I'm gonna clean the ends up, and that is gonna allow the frame to go higher up where it needs to be. And it'll put the tranny inside the tunnel, which it's not right now. So yeah, we're getting there. Had a little bit of a hard time here because there was some extra reinforcement, which is no big deal. We can always tie that into it, close it up. You can see right here that it was welded to that underneath there. So yeah, not a big deal. We could gusset all this up, and it'll be nice and strong. Better than ever. Let me walk around to the other side. You'll see the inside of the rocker, nice and clean. Got a couple spots there I gotta clean up. But yeah, the floor is gonna sit right, you can see where the line is. That's where our floor is gonna sit. Basically follow that line all the way around. The new floor will sit up that high. And again, like I said, this is gonna give us the extra room to get the frame. You can see how much the frame has to come up. You can see inside the back. Let me get light. There we go. You can see that there's space for days back there. That's a good 6 inches that this whole engine and chassis has to come up. So anyway, yeah, and then we'll move on to the next step. I'm gonna get my plasma cutter set up, and we'll get this other side cut out. Well, the braces cut out, and then I could do the same thing. Probably gonna have to run to Home Depot, pause the video, get some more Sawzall blades and flap discs. I went through a few flap discs. I don't wanna cut it with a plasma cutter because I want a nice clean edge. Your hand will never give you a nice clean edge, especially cutting inside there like that. So it's not even worth trying. Yeah. Anyway, back at it. All right, we're back. Got the frame cut out. Chassis laying right where it needs to be. Left our center section, our console. And basically now what we're gonna do is, we know we're almost there, we're almost home free. I'll give you a gist of what we got popping here, right about here. So I gotta order me some 2-inch drop spindles. What we want is, let me get my pointer. going. We want this hub to be even with this. So that them 2-inch drop spindles, we'll put this right where it needs to be, which will be about here, which will allow us to run a 22-inch tire. It's gonna have to be a 17. So our wheel is center for the opening, which is 22 inches from the edge of this to the center, which is the center of the opening. Gives us 22 inches right about there. That's gonna be our center. And yeah, we're almost there. We're literally almost there. So next thing what I'm gonna do is, I know that we can achieve our goal with the front clip of this. I cut the back half of the chassis off because it was messing me up with my measurements. Everything's level right now, zeroed out. The body's zeroed, the chassis zeroed, the body zeroed side to side. The chassis zeroed side to side. She's on 0. And put this up here. Got a nice big 0. And that works for me. And then the same thing goes all the way around. So now what we need to do is run to Home Depot, get some Sawzall blades, get some cutoff wheels, and start cleaning all this up. I want to get this off. I want to make some temporary mounts so I know where it needs to be. Also, our body is, where's my tape measure? Our body is 11 5/8 from the chassis. 11 5/8 on this side, and 11 5/8 on this side. Bam, that's money. So we're centered, we're straight, we're right where we need to be. Like I said, we're gonna make some temporary body mounts so I know where everything has to sit, back where it belongs. And then I gotta get the body off, I gotta get the engine out, and strip this engine down. Got to narrow the frame. Make a phone call today to Raceline Wheels. See if they can custom make me a set for the fronts and obviously the rears. If I can get a set custom made, then I shouldn't have to really go too crazy with narrowing it. But we basically need 3 inches. We need to get this thing kicked in. 3 inches should give us what we need. So 3 inches on this side, 3 inches on this side. We're gonna narrow the frame, a total of 6 inches, which you're gonna achieve by the center of the chassis. Then the link, steering link, what we'll do is cut 6 inches out of it, put some pipe over it, weld it up really well. Can't really see it from here, but that's the best thing we can do with doing this on a budget. And then I'm just gonna have to make new engine mounts, which really isn't that big of a deal. You can basically make anything you want nowadays. So yeah, so gotta get the AC compressors off, gotta get the accessories off. This loop-de-loop tube is probably gonna be in the way. Instead of it running down and coming out through here, we're gonna have to redo our cooling. Maybe a hose come out like this and into the bottom of the radiator. Yeah, so that's what we're looking at. But it's looking good, man. Looking good. This is episode 3. And if y'all didn't know, we are slamming a Suzuki Samurai. And you might ask yourself, why are you doing this to a Suzuki Samurai? It's just about being different. Why be like everyone else and build the same things that everyone else builds? So, I don't know. That's my thought process. That's going to end it for this video. This is like the 19th time talking into the phone here to get an ending. I'm going to go to Home Depot. I'm going to get some stuff. Tomorrow we're going to make a new video. Consider leaving a comment down below. Consider subscribing if you're not subscribed. Let's grow this channel to 1,000. And that will do it. So have a wonderful day. We'll catch you on the next one. Deuces.